Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. D. Priyadarshini, Assistant Professor, Department of Cybersecurity. Today we are going to discuss about file management in C programming. The file management consists of different operations. That is, the file can be carried out with the different operations. Creating a new file, opening an existing file, reading from a file, writing to a file, moving to a specific location in the memory, then closing a file. All these operations what we are going to discuss in today's class. A program to read the content of the file. Here is an sample program how to read a file. That is, file reading is just the reading of a content. The content whichever we are trying to read must be opened before it get read. That is, the file open pointer has to open the file which is existing inside the memory for reading of the user. The opening of the file is must or mandatory before we do any performance, we do any operations inside the file. Before we read or write information from the file or to the file on the disk, we must open the file. To open the file, we have the function called fopen, that is file open. It performs different operations by specifying the mode what we are trying to do with the file. In fact, file open performs three important tasks when you open the file. That is, in read mode, firstly it finds the file whichever it is exist. It search on the disk to be opened. Then it loads the file content from the disk to the memory called buffer. It is set up a character pointer that points to the first character in the buffer. This was a sample how it retrieves the record from the file. The memory space which consists of so many files and whatever we are trying to recover or read from the memory, the file pointer will move towards that file name and retrieve the content of the file to the buffer. To be a successful read information from the file, we have to open the file which is already exist. That is, always the file pointer will check the existing file before it get opened. Whenever we are trying to open a file which is not existing, always the compiler will give an error message stating that file does not exist. When we open the file in a read mode, we get only the performance of a reading. We cannot able to append or do alterations or deletions inside the file content. Once a file has been opened for read using fopen, the file content are brought into the buffer properly and the pointer is set up to the points to the first character in the buffer, which can able to read the each and every character from the file. To read the file content from the memory, the three existing functions are getC. The first read function, it will get the character by character from the file position, that is from the current pointer, file pointer position. The next is, on getting this ASCII value, it signifies the file to be not to be the end of the file. It ensures that the content is literally there. This character is inserted beyond the last character in the file when it is created. While reading from the file, we get getC, that is encounters which whatever the character we are going to retrieve or we have read till the end of the file. The macros will check for the EOF, that is end of file. If the file character ends, automatically the file pointer stated an indication that is the end of the file with a blank space. Then closing the file. It is necessary and mandatory to close all the files whatever it is opened before it get closing the program. When we have finished reading or writing whatever the operation we are trying to do with the file, we have to ensure that all the files whatever it is opened by the user has to be closed. This can be done by the function called fclose. Through the statement of fclose, the file pointer moves towards the end of the file where the character ends in the file. Once we close the file, we can no longer read from its use getC unless we reopen the file. When we close the file using fclose, three operations would be performed. The character in the buffer would be returned in the file on the disk. At the end of the file, a character with the ASCII value 26 would be get returned. The buffer would be eliminated from the memory. Why we have to ensure that all the file, whatever it is opened, should be closed? Because the file accessing can be done only through the buffer. So whatever we have loaded, that is opened for reading or appending or rewriting or deleting, whatever the operations of the file, is all stored in the buffer. So once we close the file only, the memory space will be get deallocated in the buffer so that the other data, whatever we are trying to retrieve, can be stored in the buffer, or else it get overloaded. The character spacing and counting can be done with the file content with the help of this sample program. See here, we are going to count the number of characters and number of blank space and lines and tab space inside the file. We are trying to recover or retrieve the file called pri.c in a read mode so that we can able to read only the content whatever it is there in the file. This program gives the output of the number of characters inside the file and the number of blank space and the number of tab space and the number of lines inside the file. See the output of this file. When we try to write a file, the file has to be similar to the put.ch. When we try to get or read the file, the function whatever we used is a getch, and when we are trying to write into the file, the function is putch. The putch function always write into VDU, whereas the function we try to write the content inside the file. The writing process continues till all the characters from the source file has been written to the target file. The source file and target file must be opened when we are trying to write the file. These operations are performed inside the file, that is read, write and append are the major functions which we can able to write into or do the operations in the file with the help of the already built-in function called putch and getch. We'll discuss another topic in another session. Thank you.